So, Mr. Li, this is your first time to be here in the city. Were you expecting that you are so well received and well accepted here in China?
It's a total surprise for me that there were so many people here that that know my work. It's very thrilling, actually.
And your previous pieces of artworks are pretty much related to fantasies like dragons or spirits. Where did your inspiration come from?
It really goes way back to childhood. When I was just started reading folk stories and fairy stories at a very early age, and never really quite grew out of it. You know, it was a brief infatuation with the Wild West, but it really it was the folk stories and myths and legends from all over the world that really grabbed my attention, and I've kind of continued with that for my whole life. I've just been.
And nowadays, less and less people start to read books. I mean, the hard copy books, because we have digital format. We can read Kindle. We can always have books on the computers. Do you think that the sketchbook sometimes will also be abandoned?
I hope not. I really love physical books. In the same way that I like physical music, I like LPs, you know, old vinyl, and I haven't got into downloading music. And I think it's the same with books. It's a poorer quality experience. You get the quantity and you get the ease of access, but you get a slightly kind of degraded interface with, you know, I mean, you can't really compare the pleasure of holding a book, turning the pages, you know, the texture of the paper, the smell of the ink, all those physical things.
Most of your previous works are related to the Middle Ages. It's all about Western style. To me, it's Western style. So have you ever considered some Chinese elements in your future work?
I think in the Western stories that I've been working with, I think there might be a correspondence there. You know, the great tradition of landscape painting in China appeals to me, and I think it goes back further than our tradition of landscape painting in Europe, a lot further.
Geographically speaking, China has a large landscape, and we have a lot of natural reserves and beautiful sceneries. Have you ever thought about making a plan that you can go to different parts of the country here in China, that you can get inspiration, and maybe that can help you to work for your future projects?
It is possible. I mean, we did think about, when we were working on Lord of the Rings, we did a look at some of those beautiful river valleys with the very kind of extraordinary shaped mountains that are very kind of familiar in Chinese art and to the tourists who visit. I'm more curious about seeing what Chinese artists do with that material, and I hope we see more of the older Chinese stories being taken into new forms and new films and new visual media.
You do have a lot of fans here in China, and a lot of people know about you, and maybe in the future you have the potential to have the chance to work with the Chinese partners. Have you got any invitations?
These things do come up from time to time, but as I said, I'd be very reticent about jumping into an area that I know so little about. I mean, I'm very interested in it, but I've got such a background in European medieval history that it just kind of, you know, flows out. And I think I'd be back to square one, starting with another culture that I know so little about.